Hi students, and welcome to today's live IELTS class. My name is Adrian. I'm streaming to you from beautiful Victoria here on West Coast, Canada. I hope everybody is having a great weekend so far. I hope you're all staying very healthy, being fit and strong, and being productive and happy. Welcome, Ravish. Welcome, students, to this class. We are focusing on IELTS speaking part 3, talking about Band 9 communication skills. And while we wait for some of your peers to join in, this lesson is presented to you by aehelp.com for academic IELTS success. Check us out there. For the general IELTS, visit us at IELTS help.com. That's generalieltshelp.com. Again, on both of those websites, we've got lots and lots of content to help you improve on all parts of the IELTS, including the speaking section. In fact, you can find other students to practice your speaking with. Welcome, Nagaim, welcome, Mayara, Colin. Good to see you, Jenny. Our websites look like this. This is our academic IELTS website here at aehelp.com. You can click this big red button to join our premium package. It's a one-time payment for lifetime access. Really well worth it. We are an official British Council IELTS test registration center and certified agents. When you join the website, you will have access to your My Student account. And in your My Student account, you can practice speaking with other students like Skype or WhatsApp style with video and audio. And you can also book a speaking interview practice with me. So the student partner speaking, you click on that, you accept the terms, and then in here you will see some people waiting to speak with you, some other IELTS students. We have Siddharth and Sachin in here right now who would like to video and audio chat. So there you go. Sumit Rao says, hello, Adrian. I just got my results. Listening 9, reading 8.5, writing 7, speaking 7. Sumit, congratulations. That's really a fantastic score. So your overall was a band 8, I guess, which is really nice, Sumit. Congratulations. Send me an email so I can get your testimonial, okay? That's fantastic. That's pretty much good enough for a fast-paced visa. It's good enough for a master's or a PhD application. So I'm guessing that you're really happy with that, right? This is our general IELTS website here, by the way. And here again, you can click that big red button to join our premium package. We always love it when students come back and share their success stories with us. And we are fortunate to have many, many students coming back and sharing success stories with us regularly. So that's amazing. Okay, and Sumit says it was overall 8, yes, and it was computer delivered on the 28th of September. Congrats, Sumit. So if you have questions, or if you would like to send us your scores and testimonials, Sumit, I'm hoping you will, then send an email to adrian@aehelp.com, and we would love to get your picture and post it along with our other students who have succeeded. Okay, all right. Awesome. So we have apps, Academic IELTS Help, links to aehelp.com, General IELTS Help app, links to gieltshelp.com as well. And again, just a reminder, everyone, of our upcoming schedule. So October 2nd to October 16th, I'm taking a few days off. So after this class, until the 12th, there will be no live classes, but we will be doing HD video releases with speaking videos and such. And then I will be back on the 13th. And on the 13th, I'll start off with speaking part 1 for everybody. And then And then we'll have lots and lots of classes until the 16th. I'll post this schedule after this class on our Instagram and on our YouTube community board, so you can follow the schedule there. Just make sure to allow your notifications on your phone for our classes, and you'll always get a ping when we have live classes and new videos coming out, okay? Cass, thanks for subscribing to the channel. You'll get those pings, okay? All right. Yeah, so it's speaking today. So let's get into it. All right. Thanks, Kuch Nguyen, for that. So it's speaking today. So let's speak. And when you're speaking, just repeat. Okay. So repeat what you hear me say. Copy my intonation. Copy my enunciation, so mimic my speaking, if you will. I'm quite an animated person, and it's good to be animated in the IELTS exam, so it's good to have nice inflections, deflections, good intonation in your voice. I sat the IELTS exam, as you know, my speaking score was a band 9, so I'm pretty sure I know what I'm talking about. We'll get right into it. So IELTS speaking part 3. It's the third and final part of the speaking, and it's arguably the most challenging. Now, if you did a good job with speaking part 2, then speaking part 3 should be okay. Speaking part 3 is connected to speaking part 2, so your IELTS examiner will say, okay, that's the end of speaking part 2. Now we will continue with speaking part 3. For speaking part 3, I will ask you some questions related to the topic of speaking part 2. Let's talk about scientific discovery. So probably for speaking part 2 here, you had to talk about some invention like the computer or the airplane. Now you have to talk about scientific discovery. Okay, let's get right into it. So here's the first question, and when you give me the answer, we'll talk strategy, and I'll give you some feedback on how you're doing. Okay, so here we go. First question the examiner asks you is, what are some of the most important discoveries for humanity in the last 2 centuries? Okay, so don't try to give the perfect answer. Okay, you don't have to come up with oh, that's the most important. There's a lot of really big discoveries in the last 2 centuries, as I'm sure you realize. Just pick a couple, pick a few of them, 2 or 3 of them, okay? Discoveries is plural, so please always think about more than one. Don't think of one that's really hard to talk about, so don't start talking about quantum physics, okay? Because you might get into some trouble. So keep it fairly simple. And speak about at least 2. And also paraphrase the question. So use the question and then paraphrase it like discoveries. You can say innovations, inventions, okay? Instead of centuries, you can say 100 years, right? So because it's 2 centuries, it's 200 years. Instead of humanity, you can say human civilization. So use the question in your answer and paraphrase it. Okay, so once again, what are some of the most important discoveries for humanity in the last 2 centuries? All right, Paulo Rees says some of the most important findings of the last 200 years are vaccines for a lot of diseases, radio, cellular communications, and aviation. Paulo, good start. Why? Okay, Paulo, always why. So just keep going, Paulo. Don't just go, okay, next time, but keep going. So why? Why are vaccines such an important discovery? Why are cellular communications and aviation? I agree with you. I think those are definitely among some of the greatest. Why? Okay, give me a reason for why, and maybe throw in a real life example. I think you'll find one very easily. Just Mandeep says online shopping and eco-friendly vehicles are the most important innovation. Just Mandeep, there's one issue with that answer. If I'm your examiner, it feels like you didn't understand the question 100% clearly, because I said last 2 centuries, which means the last 200 years. To me, it feels like you're really just talking about the last few decades, like the last half century. So either you have to answer clearer, or you have to choose some different innovations, because it seems like you're really talking about recent times. Okay. All right. Amrit says space travel. Amrit, you got to speak in full sentences. If you want to get good band scores, they have to be complete sentences. Okay. Johnny Cash is saying, well, my main problem is if I don't have anything to say in Portuguese, I don't have anything to say in English either. You got to come up with information to say in both Portuguese and in English. Don't translate, so come up with it in your mind and speak it in English, but come up with it, okay? Rashika says, the most crucial scientific discoveries in the last 2 centuries, which were most effective for humans, are COVID vaccines and cardiac catheterization for a heart attack, because COVID vaccines reduce deaths. Yeah, maybe. I might not agree with you there. Yeah, maybe. It's arguable. I don't think COVID vaccines are as some other things, but that's okay. We can debate that at another time. The IELTS examiner certainly will not debate with you. Okay. Janil says, a lot of discoveries come to mind. I've chosen 2 of those, the most effective for human beings in the last 200 years. Of course, the internet, phones, and cars. Janil, don't say that a lot come to mind. Just say what comes to mind instead, okay? Janil says, those innovations have been used more than others and are easy to learn and buy. Okay. Angun Mulia says, in my opinion, the most significant inventions include mobile phones, computers, and other technology that people use, because those items make life easier. Like now, people can use mobile phones. Okay, so I believe that some of the most significant findings for people in the last 200 years. I really didn't see too many of you saying 200 years instead of 2 centuries, okay? That shows the examiner your lexical resource, your ability to paraphrase, all right? In the last 200 years are the advent of electricity, vaccines, and public education. Believe it or not, over 200 years ago, people were like, education, what? So these have literally both transformed the lives of most humans in both quality and quantity, allowing people to live longer and in greater comfort. The latest evidence of this are electric cars and the COVID vaccine. All right. So there's my answer. I would make an argument about that. Again, just keep it simple. Think about, hey, if I asked 100 people, what would be some of the most popular answers? I'm guessing electricity would be a big one. 200 years ago, very little electricity out there, if any at all. So that was, that's pretty important for us. I'm sure for many of us, it would be tough to imagine life without it. So again, repeat after me. What are some of the most important discoveries for humanity in the last 2 centuries? I believe that some of the most significant findings for people in the last 200 years are the advent of electricity, vaccines, and public education. These have literally both transformed the lives of most humans in both quality and quantity, allowing people to live longer and in greater comfort. The latest evidence of this are electric cars and COVID vaccine, which in fact is kind of funny because electric cars have been around for a while. Let's take out that both. That's a little bit awkward. So a good way to think about it is think, what would most people say from 100? And also think outside the box. So when we think of inventions, innovations, for many people, a lot of the ones that come to mind initially are technological advancements. And, you learn this in a lot of IELTS material, like think about technology. Don't talk about mobile phones. Okay, so I'll give you a couple of good tips here to increase your band score. Avoid talking about mobile phones. Okay, so to help with ideas for answers, okay, A, think of what most people would say if you asked a pool of 100 individuals. Okay. B, think outside the box. So broad picture. Okay. For example, don't just think technological evolution, but also think of social evolution, public education, public voting are good examples of that. Okay. And careful to avoid overused cliche responses like mobile phone. I know we all have these in our pockets, and I know for some questions it might make sense. But believe me when I tell you that examiners get so bored of hearing about mobile phones and also even COVID-19 these days. It's like every answer has to have COVID-19. Sometimes it's useful, yes, like I used it in my answer, but don't be like COVID this, COVID that, mobile phone this, mobile phone that, COVID this, mobile phone. Because for the examiner, it'll be like, oh, okay, this is like the exact same as 19 out of the 20 of the last students. It's really hard to know who's a band 8. Who's a band 9? So even if you're really good, I'm just going to give you a band 7 and we'll go with that. Okay, so careful with that. Okay, that's the reality. I serve it cold. Okay, I tell you how it is. I'm not going to sugarcoat it for you and give you nonsense strategies. Okay, this is the way it is. All right. Okay, space travel was a good answer, by the way, as well. So combustion engine, rocket propulsion for space travel, those are great discoveries as well. Absolutely. Okay. All right. Next question. Let's keep going. So think about these when you think about the next answers, okay? And keep going, Manu and Paulo. It's nice to see you over in the General English Help channel as well. Okay, next question. Here we go. Let's do this. Are all scientific discoveries a positive for society? So are all scientific discoveries a positive for society? Now, these are kind of loaded questions. A loaded question means that we kind of know the answer, okay? And again, remember, you have to give an answer, explanation, and an example. Answer plus explanation. A good way to remember to give an explanation is continue your answer with because. Dot, 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 because, dot, dot, dot. And then just keep going, okay? Plus an example. And a great way to remember to give an example, smooth example, is continue with dot, 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 just, or like, dot, 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 and then keep going. And then stop, okay? Stop. Stop. Don't go off topic. Okay, that's what you want to do. All right, so let's see your answers for this one. Okay. Shaizab Sub says, well, to be honest, I don't quite think that all scientific innovations impose a positive effect, as some have destroyed the environment. For instance, global warming from the burning of fossil fuels via the invention of the combustion engine. Shahzaib, I think you have some really good English. You have some good vocabulary, great grammar. I do think that you need to finish that idea a bit better. So affected the environment in many ways, for instance, global warming. Clear, okay? So have affected the environment negatively or have polluted the environment. Instead of affected the environment, have polluted the environment, like global warming. But global warming isn't an invention, right? It's some inventions that lead to global warming, like the combustion engine. If you don't know combustion engine, just say vehicles that burn gas, right? So you can explain it simpler as well. Kevin Bowie says, absolutely not. Many inventions have actually been a threat to all, like dynamites or nuclear energy, whose weaponization inflicted massive casualties over the two world wars. Luckily, those products have been banned outright, with nations legally binded by international accords such as the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Act. If somebody wants to be really controversial, you could mention the invention of COVID as well. Okay, Jasur says, no, I think the rapid enhancement of the internet has a negative effect on people as well. Nowadays, the young generation can easily get access and become addicted to computer games, so they don't study at all. In fact, in China, they had to bring a government-level rule to restrict internet use among children, which is true. I don't know if anybody heard about that, but in China, they actually brought some rules to restrict computer use among youth because of that problem. So, Jasur, you're on the right track. Give an example. It doesn't have to be China. It doesn't have to be a real example. Just give an example. Un says, certainly not. Although many of these breakthroughs that I just mentioned had been a great help for humanity, there are some that have turned into failures and disasters, wasting billions of dollars and even killing thousands of people, like nuclear weapons that had killed many innocent lives. Yeah. Especially the ones dropped on Japan, right? Hiroshima and Nagasaki. That killed a lot of innocent people, not just soldiers and others. Yeah. Women and children. It's terrible. Yeah, absolutely. Paulo, don't say I support the idea. That's a little bit awkward. Okay? All right? Just go with your answer. Okay? And for anybody over in the General English Help channel, give an answer, okay? Chetna says, I personally believe not all innovation was beneficial because some medical innovations prove to create bad health in long term. For example, repeated x-rays or laser treatments can in fact lead to cancer themselves. Yeah, Chetna, that's a good argument. Just finish the idea. Ritesh says, some scientific discoveries like nuclear bombs and weapons are very frightening and can be harmful to society, and the environment as well. So these would not be positive innovations. Yeah, Ritesh, good answer. Reflect the question. So these would not be positive innovations. So I do not believe that all innovations in the past have been a benefit to humanity. Some have certainly led to strife and disaster. Ones that come to mind immediately are nuclear and biological weapons, as well as the burning of fossil fuels and plastic wrapping of products which have polluted the water, land, and air to the point where our planet is becoming uninhabitable. Okay. All right. So a little bit depressing, but it's reality. Here we go. So repeat after me. Okay. I do not believe that all innovations in the past have become a benefit to humanity. Some have certainly led to strife and disaster. Ones that come to mind immediately are nuclear and biological weapons, as well as the burning of fossil fuels and plastic wrapping of products which have polluted the water, land, and air to the point where our planet is becoming uninhabitable. Okay, so notice how here I'm not using because, and I'm not using just or like. So instead, here I'm using an adjective clause, which have polluted the water. It's also giving the reason. So an adjective clause is another good way to do it. In this case, I don't have a smooth flowing example, so I might include something like, okay, like the Great Lakes in North America are no longer fresh enough to drink without filtration. Okay, so I might say something like that, all right? So again, remember these, that because and like or just are great ways to create fluency in your response, and they will keep reminding you to give the answer, the explanation, and the example. So try that for the next question. Okay. Here's the next question. Go for it. So when you answer this question, try to do it, or not try, but do it with an answer, then because, then the reason, then like, and then an example. All right. So here we go. Should there be more regulations placed on research? Why or why not? Okay. All right. So should there be more regulations placed on research? Why or why not? Now, for your answer, use the question. So don't just say yes because, but paraphrase this statement in your answer. So yes, there needs to be, or no, there shouldn't be. Okay. All right. Give me a nice full sentence answer for this one. And again, don't just use one-word answers, okay? Or two-word answers. Those will not get you marks. So Gaurav, atomic bomb is not enough for the previous. All right. So yes, in my country, India, the government has put certain rules and regulations on new innovation because and keep going, Jainil. OS says absolutely the governments have to impose new rules on research in order to save millions of lives of people from negative implications and to save the environment as well, such as military experiments have to be. Okay, OS, it's a great start. Keep going. I'm looking for the continuation. Nice paraphrasing, OS. Nice use of the original question. Kevin Bowie says, well, I don't know exactly the present parameters, but I suppose the international community should set up their control over research because some nations, for individual benefits, are still commissioning studies to the detriment of the globe, such as enriching their nuclear arsenal. Yeah, Kevin, there's definitely a lot of research that's going on, which is very questionable. Okay. Rashika says, yes, I think there should be more regulations on scientific research to mitigate the negative effects on society, such as don't take humans for testing drugs and injections in primarily and virology. Okay. Paulo Reese says, sure, I think there should be more regulations because the ethical aspect is definitely important in the scientific area. Nowadays, AI is a research area in computer science that has brought a lot of dispute regarding this question, as nobody wants computers to eventually be in control of humans. Yeah, and Isaac Asimov, the Russian futurist, very famous for his 3 rules of robots. So if anybody wants to read an interesting read in English, of course, you can read it in Russian if you speak Russian, but I recommend reading it in English to practice your English. It's Isaac Asimov, The 3 Rules of Robot. And he was a futurist that lived in the past, and some movies like I, Robot with Will Smith make that into the interesting topic of the film. Okay. So, Harwinder Shran says, yes, there must be limitations imposed on research because it can prevent harm to people from mad scientists. Yeah, and from people with visions of grandeur, right? So good for you to use because, Harwinder. You're using because. Nice. And then give an example, like the invention of the atomic bomb. Okay. All right. So I'll give an answer and then I'll look for a few more. Yes, I do think that authorities need to impose further ethical guidelines to control experimentation in order to make sure that scientists or scientific discovery minimizes negative impact on both humans and the environment, because some inventions have the potential to destroy life, like the ones I previously mentioned: biological and nuclear weapons. Okay, all right. So it's good to connect with your previous answers. So here I used because, as I was telling you, you want to use because. And you want to use like. Practice this. That will definitely help to increase your fluency and include those examples. Okay. All right. So, should there be more regulations placed on research? Why or why not? Yes, I do think that authorities need to impose further ethical guidelines. Pay attention to that. To control experimentation in order to make sure that scientific discovery minimizes negative impact on both humans and the environment, because some inventions have the potential to destroy life, like the ones I previously mentioned, biological and nuclear weapons. Okay, let me move the screen a little bit so you can see the full sentence. Okay. All right. So there you have it. That's how you build up fluency. Okay. And when I got band 9 in my speaking, that's how I built up fluency when I did the exam earlier this year, is I just focused on answer, explanation, example. Okay. All right. Let's take another question. Before we do that, I want to read a couple more. So Bakrat says, the regulations surrounding research should not be restricted because it may create difficulty to survive, as the innovation of AI robotics is helpful for humanity, and it should not be under the guideline of authorities. Bakra, yeah, that's another argument. So some people do believe that experimentation should be allowed to go freely. And that's fine. The examiner will never judge you for saying yes or no as long as you explain it well. Okay? All right. Sakshi Sharma, you're very, very welcome. Thank you for that. All right. Kevin, I'm sure you'll do a great job. You've been working really hard. Nodara Begame says, I do believe there should be some regulations implemented on conducting research. The reason for that is because it's important for humanity to protect our habitat and society's priorities. Okay, very good, Nodira Begim. You're giving a reason. Use because to flow a little bit more smoothly. Okay. All right. Nicely done. Let's take a look at the next question. So if you're doing a good job, the IELTS examiner is going to keep going. And again, for this class, I want you to really focus on that because and like, or since and such as, okay? So keep going, okay? Good luck, Vicky, on your exam tomorrow. So here we go. Let's discuss modern technology. Okay, very common type of question. Let's discuss modern technology. In your opinion, is technology making people's lives easier? Why or why not? Again, answer, explanation, example. Here we go. Okay, so in your opinion, is technology making people's lives easier? Tuang Mun, it's not just about memorizing a lot of words to get a band 9, but it's how you use those words, okay? The way you use words becomes much more important for the high band scores than actually how many you know. You need at least about 3,000-4,000 words for a band 9. But again, it's not just 3,000-4,000 that you need to know. You need to be able to use them very well, okay? All right. So, Jasur says to this question, certainly technologies simplify our life. Owing to up-to-date computers and phones, we can find information and materials in the internet, which significantly helps us with studies. Just like in the US, pupils are allowed to use their tablets during their lessons and get perfect marks. Okay, Jasur. Good. I liked how you used the connections that I'm asking for here, right? Kevin says, no, I'd argue that lives have actually been more difficult with technology because communication devices like phones have turned people into non-stop money-making machines with tasks following them home even after office hours. This is why I always do a digital detox, detaching myself from tech at weekends. Yeah, good answer. Kevin, digital detox. I love that collocation. That's beautiful. Okay, digital detox. Wow, beautiful collocation. Okay. All right. Ankit, I hope that your exam this morning went really well. Okay. Shahzaib Sab says, yeah, it does, as the basic concept of technology is to make our living easier, as these innovations have made us travel and communicate easily. All right. Yeah, Ankit, I'm glad that the videos were useful. Oh, it says, certainly modern innovations assist us to do our activities and they save our time and energy. Now I do my house chores without getting tired with an electric washer and stove. Also, I study online through my laptop. Okay, oh, it's not bad. I love the answer. You can put because and like into your answer. So again, use those to build up that fluency and make the connections, okay? Aryan says, in my opinion, technology is making lives of individuals much easier because the updated Windows helps a lot of students to find answers to their questions from the internet. Okay. Rashika, yes, of course, technology plays a vital role to improve people's lifestyles. In the past time, my grandmother worked as a slave for 4 to 5 hours in the kitchen to make dishes using the wood stove. However, as a result of technology, appliances nowadays can help people cook food within an hour or two. I made a lovely casserole in just 90 minutes yesterday. Rashika, I threw an example in there for you at the end. Yeah, so you might say both, okay? Sometimes you can give the answer. So I'm always telling students, don't say both, just go one side or the other side. It is the easier. But if you want to go band 8, band 9, you might say both for this. I think that in some ways, tech has made life easier because many new gadgets reduce the time and effort involved in everyday tasks like the dishwasher for doing the dishes or the washing machine for doing laundry. But in other ways, tech development has also overcomplicated life, putting unnecessary stress on humans, such as the frequent intrusion of the internet and mobile phone, like such as 1,000 or 100 notification pings distracting dinner time. Okay. So it's a nice long answer. The examiner will listen because it's on topic, as long as you're fluent, okay? So here we go. Repeat after me. In your opinion, is technology making people's lives easier? Why or why not? I think that in some ways tech has made life easier because many new gadgets reduce the time and effort involved in everyday tasks, like the dishwasher for doing the dishes or the washing machine for doing laundry. But in other ways, tech development has also overcomplicated life, putting unnecessary stress on humans, such as the frequent intrusion of the internet and mobile phones, such as 100 notification pings distracting dinner time. Okay, try to avoid repetition, like such as, but if you do it once, not a big deal. You can still get a band 9. It could be a part of your diction. Okay, so it's totally fine. All right. So here you have a couple more questions. So what are some important technological developments for the future? Think about the environment. Think about overpopulation, so the problems of humanity. What kinds of modern technology do people rely on in their daily life? This is where you might say mobile phone, okay? All right, students, I'm going to stop here for today. We saw a lot of great answers, and I hope that you really paid attention to these tips. So think of what most people would say if you asked a pool of 100 individuals. Make it original. Okay, even though it's a popular idea, make it an original answer. Think outside the box. That's an idiom, which means think not just about one idea, but outside. So if you're talking about technology and development, don't just think about gadgets, but also think about social evolution, like public education or public voting, for instance. Okay. Careful with, I know it contradicts point number 1, but do be careful with some of the overused cliche responses that are like way too often used, like mobile phones or COVID for your answer. For lots more speaking help and for a lot of great IELTS materials, for over 100 HD video lessons with me and with some other teachers, join our premium package at aehelp.com or gieltshelp.com. For academic IELTS, it's aehelp.com here, and it is this blue background. And all you have to do to join is to click that big red button. We are an official British Council IELTS test registration center. We're certified British Council agents. We're highly trained university graduates. We know what we're talking about. We've been doing this for a while. And this is the general IELTS here. And click that big red button. Somebody's calling me, but whoever's calling me, you're probably watching the live class too. I'm teaching right now, so I can't pick up your call. Yeah, so that's general IELTS. Now remember, students, that I will be away next week, but I'm coming back on the 13th, okay, with speaking part 1 at this same time. So I'll put this schedule up today on Instagram and on our YouTube channel. This is our Instagram here, okay? All right, it was a fantastic week of studies. I look forward to my return. We will be putting out some HD videos, so make sure you get notifications from our channel so that you can catch all of our videos. Watch the ones you want and you like and you need. Don't watch the ones that you don't. Up to you. I hope that you all have an awesome rest of your weekend. Much love to all of you wherever you are in this beautiful world. Keep up the good work. I'm Adrian, signing out from Victoria, Canada. Bye for now.